So last month, Kyle Rittenhouse, during the Kenosha protests, went to those protests and ended up murdering several protesters. He was one of many militia members that flooded into this and other protests, saying that they need to defend other people's property. And they brought assault rifles to do it. And what do you know? Kyle Rittenhouse ended up using that assault rifle. But the fact that all of it's on video and you can clearly see him murdering people, that is not enough by itself to get Fox to not defend him. And they're doing that. But the terminology that they're using to defend him is utterly abhorrent. Take a look at this. They've got Bondi on to talk about the case.
And people have to understand out there, that was a war zone. You've got a 17-year-old out there trying to protect his state. He's helping people who had been injured. He had paramedic training from being a lifeguard. He's taking graffiti off walls. He's trying to mitigate the chaos out there. And they rushed to judgment. I mean, we don't know everything yet. That video speaks volumes. You know, one's a prior sex offender, one had other charges, and they're chasing him down. Now, whether or not he should be charged with any of it, I think it was too soon to charge him. We don't even know the ballistics yet because they charged him 2 days later, Sean, and there were bullets flying everywhere. Other people were firing. This kid was out there trying to help people. Were people killed? Absolutely. But again, we don't know yet. You've got a little boy out there trying to protect his community. Should he have been out there with a gun? No. But should he have been charged with murder? We just don't know yet. And they charged him 2 days later. So, you know, it's a war zone out there. What's it coming to in these liberal cities when teenagers have to go out there to try to provide aid to other people who are getting injured by these rioters?
Okay, there's so much about that. It's not his state. She knows it's not his state. He took an assault rifle and drove across state lines, none of which he was supposed to do, and brought it there. If it was a war zone, it's a war zone because some right wingers decided to bring weapons of war to it. That's what makes it a war zone. Weapons of war being there. He chose to do that. That's not helping people who've been injured. That's not, I'm gonna take down the graffiti by shooting at the building. You bring that there so that you can use the gun. She wants to wait for the ballistics report. I got a spoiler alert for you. The bullet was in his gun, it came out of his gun and it went into people and those people died. It's all on video, you've all seen it. And they are still, after all of this time, saying that there were other people chasing him down. He'd already murdered someone. He murdered a person and then tried to run away to evade justice. So they did what we laud, the good guy trying to stop a murderer from escaping. So he murdered more people and then fled back across state lines. It took a couple of days for them to charge him because he fled the scene of his multiple murders. And Bondi knows all of that already. She understands all of that. But the thing is, he's a white guy with a gun, so he can't do any wrong. Whatever he was doing, I'm sure it was for good reasons. He can try to evade justice. He can try to get away with murder. He's just a little boy who murdered some people. So why don't we have more empathy for him?
I'm really tired of these white women who have so much empathy for this little boy. Where was this empathy with Trayvon Martin, who was a little boy? They were the same age, right? It's only because it is a reflection of of you and what you look like and what you value in this world. To bring up the fact that one of those people was a sex offender. The president of the United States is a sex offender. Would that justify him getting shot by somebody without going
apparently
to trial? I mean, to hear somebody say that, and to say that these people are defending our democracy, our laws in this country is ridiculous. She is justifying vigilantism by an entitled white supremacist that went out there in response to people fighting because Black people are being mistreated and disproportionately murdered in this country. And we have these vapid hosts on Fox that all look like they are all from the same, this cookie cutter reality that is Fox News, triggering people, millions of people who are not reading books and have no information. That's why I say nobody insults their base more than they do. They do. That administration, that cable news network, Lord knows they are all bad, but that one right there takes the cake. Let me tell you something. Had that been a black young man who did the same exact thing, and that the white person that got killed would have been a sex offender, they would have been appalled if you brought that up. He was a victim. You're not judge, jury, and executioner. Yeah. I'm so tired of these people. That's why I don't want to have conversations with them. I don't want to sit on panels with them, because they are getting rich off of poor, dumb, racist white people. That's what they're doing. They're preying on poor, racist white people who feel like they're poor and that they are lacking because of people that look like me and people who are darker than me. When in reality, they're the ones who are responsible for keeping these people down. I don't want to hear nothing else about this, Kyle. If you don't have empathy for Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice, who was 12 years old, a baby, and you can sit here and talk about he took some graffiti off the walls. And listen, they always talking about being afraid when they see black people and black men. All of us are scared when we see white boys with guns, because they are the ones who are killing people in numbers. So when we sit here and watch this woman justify this foolishness, it's gotten to the point where Americans are consuming their news the way they consume McDonald's. And it needs to stop. Put down the phone, put down the computer, and go read, because these people are misinforming you and they are poisoning your well.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah. Well, so okay. So he's just a little boy. He's just a teenager, because again, he's white. If you're white, you're like 10 years younger than you are. If you're a black 12-year-old, you're a super soldier. You got to be put down, obviously. So if Trayvon Martin had just had an assault rifle when he was being followed, stalked through his neighborhood by Zimmerman, he should have just turned around and gunned him down, because he's being chased, And Zimmerman, let's check his record. Did he deserve to die in this hypothetical? Of course, the difference is it's not exactly the same thing, since in this example, Trayvon Martin wasn't fleeing a murder he had just committed. They are literally defending a person murdering someone and then murdering the people who intervened to stop the murderer. That's what they're doing. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.